Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Blue Stable Podcast. I'm yours truly, Marcus. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to give you guys the Week 4 recap of the matchup of the Indianapolis Colts versus the Los Angeles Rams, which was a show towards the end. Of course, they had some mishaps, but overall, it was still a good game towards the end. But I can't do it here alone. I got my guys with me. I got Colts Film Room and Landon. Colts Film Room, how we doing today?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Got Landon on the other side. Landon, how we doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Can't complain.
Yes, sir. Can't complain. Let's go ahead and hop into this game. So the Colts wind up going up to SoFi Stadium, wind up losing the game at the final seconds, 20-27. But overall, it was a good game. Of course, they had some pros and cons. Started off with a crazy interception, but we're going to get all into it. But overall, I wanted to start with the offensive side for the Colts, especially the main guy in Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, besides the mishaps, I think he still had a solid game. The offense really couldn't figure it out, but I think overall he limited some of the mistakes, but I'm going to leave it to these guys to give their views on the game. I'm going to start with Colts Film Room. What was your thoughts on Daniel Jones and the offense for the Colts?
Pretty good game. You knew you were going to be playing probably the best all around D line that you've played so far. I would probably say. I know Denver is definitely not one to discredit by any means, but I thought that the Rams D line got after the Colts pretty good. I think. Listen, I thought Matt Gonzalez missing him in this game was pretty big. Dalton Tucker to me is just kind of like a turnstile guard, I guess is the best way to put it. Maybe that's a little bit disrespectful. I don't mean it like that. I just think that he's probably not like a starter in this league, but he's a guy that can come in and probably give you some snaps. He wasn't like we got to bench this guy immediately bad. But obviously you're going against Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner and he didn't. I don't know if he really saw a verse. Maybe on third down. So there was that. I think this D line has gotten both Saquon and Jonathan Taylor to be bottled up for the past 2 weeks, and I think that that's probably why the run game for me wasn't as good as it's been in weeks past. The pass game, I thought, obviously if you go look at the box score, you see 2 picks. You obviously don't want to turn the ball over. I think on the first play of the game there. To me, first of all, that's a great play by the safety. He's on the far hash and he makes a play on that ball. To me, when Daniel Jones throws those, he just doesn't have the elite arm strength in this league. It's not bad. It's just not elite or not going to make those throws that we've seen at the rate that we have seen guys like Anthony Richardson complete those balls. So those picks weren't concerning. It wasn't like he didn't see the field necessarily or was fooled by the coverage or just made a poor decision with the football. I think he gave his guy a chance. I think A.D. Mitchell was probably a little bit late to track that ball. And I think maybe with Alec Pierce, that's at least an incompletion, but not a good ball. I thought Tyler Warren played a really, really good role in this game. I think he's a crucial part to the offense. In the run and pass. I'm trying to think if there was anyone else. Yeah, but it was all around, I think, a really good test on the road. I think they lived up to it for the most part.
Yeah.
Before
we talk about
the A.D. Mitchell part.
Yeah, I was going to say we was going to hold that for the next segment, but I wanted to get Landon thoughts on Daniel Jones' play and the offense before we talk about A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah, so obviously I didn't really watch the game live Sunday, so I was just kind of going off of what the internet was going on about. And so at one point I had looked and I thought it was just a blowout because people were just going crazy. And I was like, oh man, they must be getting their crap stomped in. Looked at the score and they were down 3 points. So it really wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. As far as Daniel Jones goes, I thought it was just an average day. He didn't make any super impressive plays, but I mean, he wasn't bad by any means. If this is the floor of what you see, like I really was one thing I was really impressed by, and I continue to be impressed by, was the way like he mitigated the pressure. Like, because he was under duress a lot of that game. Like there were a lot of plays where he had guys in his lap, just blown blocking assignments. Like Ryman got beat pretty bad a few times. Dalton Tucker got wolfed. Obviously the Tanner Bortolini play where he got planted on his butt with Jared Verse. I thought Daniel Jones mitigated the pressure very well in this game, and he didn't make bad things worse for the most part. Like, now obviously, like he touched on like the interceptions, like the last pick was just kind of like just trying that happened, but and then like the forced or like the fumble there with Jared Verse, like 90% of quarterbacks are fumbling that ball. Like he had no shot on that play.
To me, that's I'll get on the coaches for that. You got it when you're behind the sticks.
You got to chip him.
You have to chip Verse. You have to chip Verse and like that's yes. You love having Bernard Ryman. You're a $100 million left tackle who's a good football player. Bernard Ryman, when you have Verse to tee off on your rusher, it's just like in this league, like there's edge rushers for the most part. Like unless you're like a Lane Johnson, like you're not locked. Like these elite pass rushers are just it's hard to lock them up one-on-one. You have to get some sort of help on them, especially when you're behind the sticks. So I don't really fault. Obviously, you want better technique from Bernie there. Didn't really stay square on that rep, but you also need to help Verse if you're gonna have Daniel Jones hold the ball for more than.
Yeah, overall, I don't think it was like a very good day for the offensive line, and a lot of that, I think, can be contributed to Matt Gonzalez missing this game. I think if he plays, we're probably looking at like a very different outcome. I think Alec Pierce.
Too. Like you have to credit the Rams, I would probably say.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is like that's a great pass rush.
Like
that's one of the better teams.
They had one play, and Bortolini just gets his butt kicked. It's the Verse basically gets a running head start. They have him lined up essentially as a Mike Backer depth. And like he times the snap up and Bortolini just has no shot because because the Colts are on the silent count because they're the road team. Verse can time as soon as he sees the right guard tap the center, he's sprinting full head of steam. Bortolini's a lighter center that you have no shot. So I think there were a bunch of plays, not a bunch, but like a couple plays like that where it's like you just have to like credit the Rams there.
Yeah, they get paid too. So yeah. I mean, it's it's a good team, and the guys that were missed in this game, I thought their impact could be felt very heavily. Like Alec Pierce being out, Matt Gonzalez being out, like that it was felt very heavily in this game. For other reasons too that we'll get into, but as far as just the quarterback play goes, it wasn't a bad day at all. Like I know people are like waiting for the shoe to drop, right? They're waiting for like as soon as that pick was thrown, it's like there he is, there's Daniel Jones. Like if what we got, if the level of play we got on Sunday is like the floor with Daniel Jones, this team's going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, Anthony Volpe just hit a home run for the Yankees. I was like, that is crazy. We're recording this during the Red Sox-Yankees playoff game. I think, should we just get into the A.D. Mitchell thing? Should we just do it? I'm ready for it. I think there's been a lot of discourse, and I think I'm very interested, and this is like super nerdy, but like I'm very interested in like the psychology of sports fans sometimes of like, like, and like how like social media where it takes 10 seconds to fire off any take that you don't really mean in the moment, and how I can't really interpret that. You know what I mean? Where like I'm sitting there on Twitter, you might just be firing like I just am very interested in that, the psychology of that. And obviously like A.D. Mitchell had a horrible game. Has obviously the drop ball, he makes an incredible play, which we can probably talk about. There's not a single player on the Colts wide receiver room that's making that play. It's just, they're just not. Like Michael Pittman, not making that play. Josh Downs, not making that play. Alec Pierce, probably the closest, but not making that play. So I think that definitely is factors into that. You can't you can't have this happen to you. Like, you just can't. It happened to this team last year. The one that, if there's any silver lining, it doesn't ruin the playoff chances of your team this time around. But you just obviously can't have that happen. I don't think he was, just watching it back, I know there was I don't think he was trying to celebrate too early. I don't. Maybe he was. It looks like he was trying to do too much, trying to switch his hand. But there was just no need for that. Just near the boundary. So listen, there's no excuse. It doesn't even matter. Like, you just can't have that happen to you. It's a stupid play. I think you go back and, like, it sounds so cliche, but it's like everyone's like, well, everyone's up in arms because, everyone's got their stories to write and their shows to do and their narratives. And that's how, like, why sports is awesome. But also it's like, what now? Okay, AD Mitchell, we got a game to go play next week. And get focus in practice, go play another game. We got 14 more. How many? We got 14 more of these. Like, that's basically where we're at. So, to me, I thought the worst one was the holding penalty there on the Jonathan Taylor run. Jonathan Taylor makes an incredible play. He's kind of inside.
No, it wasn't worse. It wasn't worse than the fumble, but it was still bad.
Yeah, maybe that's.
I think it was worse.
Just as bad. I'm gonna say just as bad.
I would go there.
Yeah, sorry. I take that.
I don't know where that technique came from or where it was taught.
It's like, again, I think he's just pressing. Like, I look at that. It's like, I think you're just pressing after a big mistake. He's trying to make a block there, and it's like that corner wanted no part of tackling JT. He just didn't want it. So, like, there was no reason to do that. It's obviously bad technique as well, but that essentially put the nail in the coffin of the game. So, yeah, my thoughts on AD Mitchell is, like, I understand why everyone's made it a big deal. You have to, the way that Steichen is talking about it, the way that Jim Bob is talking about it, the way that if you asked anyone in that organization, the way they will talk about it, they have to make an example of it. They have to. You cannot let this slide after last year. You can't just, hey, we've been winning games, so, like, this is totally fine. Like, woo, like, moral victory. Like, no, like, you're going to hold AD Mitchell accountable, and it's going to, like, we're adults in the room here. Like, you obviously cannot do that. You are an NFL player. You are counted on when Alec Pierce is hurt. Can't have it. Also, at the same time, you're not cutting AD Mitchell. You're not making him inactive. You're not going to, like, all these overreactions to it. Like, first of all, cutting, I'm actually not even going to entertain cutting because, like, that would literally never happen. Like, if they thought, and what I will entertain is, like, any sort of, like, making him inactive, where it's like, AD Mitchell, I think, is a pretty polarizing player within the fan base. There's some people that liked him in the draft. There's some people that hated him in the draft. There's some people who liked him on the Colts. There's some people who think he's stupid on the Colts. I'm obviously a little bit, I just have to acknowledge my bias of, like, I liked AD Mitchell since when I saw him at Georgia, really. I think this dude's probably the only guy that can run a full route tree. You can ask him to run any single route and he will run it. The rest of the guys the Colts have, they don't have that dude. So, like, AD Mitchell is going to play a big part of the future. I still think he's going to be a guy. So we're not making him you can't make him inactive, because the second one of the wide receivers goes down, you're screwed, because AD Mitchell can play the X. He can play the F. You probably don't want him playing the Z, but he can play the Z if you really wanted him to. He can play all three spots, really. So you literally need AD Mitchell on game days. So, like, it's one of those things where he's probably going to have a smaller role anyway when Pierce comes back. That's how it is. But, like, he's going to be a part of the Colts' future. He is. He's too talented, and he was drafted too high. Landon?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Like, I wasn't quite, like, a fan, as big of a fan, like, coming out because of, like, the mental lapses. Like, this is something that's followed him his pretty much, like, through college, through his first few seasons in the NFL. Like, I loved the pick in the second round. Like, there was talks about him being there for, like, the first round, like AD Mitchell, first round receiver, and, like, I was not a fan of that. But, like, as a second round pick, I was totally on board with it. I think that play is the quintessential like AD Mitchell experience of what you've seen over the first 20 games. It's like you see just an unbelievable play that like very few people in the league can make. Like that's a Sports Center top 10 play. And then you just see the mental lapse at the end that everything falls apart. Like everything with him that seems to be like a negative seems to be up here, and it's not anywhere else. Like the physical talent, the athleticism, the body control, like all that stuff is incredible. But like we've seen him so many times, like, alligator arm throws, like not be scared of contact, not fight for the ball. Like all that kind of stuff has like played a role through the first, like I said, 20 games of his career. And like it's all mental. And so I think that's where you're kind of hoping, because he still is so young. And I will say, like, if there's anybody I trust, it's Reggie Wayne. Like he's done it at a high level, Hall of Fame level. Like he's gonna know the right words to say.
Look at Quentin Johnson, man. Look at Quentin
Yeah.
Johnson. Look at
You don't even have to go that far. Just look on the same team. Look at what was being said on Alec Pierce 20 games into his career. I mean, there were people wanting him cut, and now everybody's clamoring for him to catch some huge payday. Like, we need to re-sign him. Like, these things take time. And, like, these guys take time.
I think that's an overreaction the other way. Listen, like, the Colts didn't – if they wanted to re-sign him, they clearly could have. They did it with Bernie. If they wanted to do it. Is Alec Pierce in a position to get a big payday? Yeah. Is this game going to be a big reflection? No. We need a larger sample size. Like, we've seen what Alec Pierce can do, obviously, but like the whole reason of not re-signing Alec Pierce was because you drafted AD Mitchell 2 years ago now in the second round. You need him to kind of like do something or like show that he can be the X. They both are going to play the X. So I'm not like saying, oh, we need to like first of all, the agents know what like these agents are smart. The second you go, if you imagine if Chris Ballard's like after AD Mitchell had a terrible day, goes into that agent's office. Yeah, we'd love to bring back Alec Pierce now. Like, you think the price isn't super high? You think the price isn't like ridiculous right now? Or like more than like you could later in the year. So like, I just think overall, like, it's one of those things that I think it's like the psychology of it is like in the moment, you're obviously like the Colts should be 4-0 right now. The Colts should not have lost a game. They should be 4-0. They should be talked about on every network as a Super Bowl contender because they beat the Rams. They beat the Broncos. They haven't lost a game. Like, they're going to go beat the Raiders, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Like, and they're not. They're 3-1, and they lost a game in a stupid fashion. And I get it. It's frustrating. I also think AD Mitchell's just way too talented. He's way too talented. And people will see it. It'll happen. I believe it'll happen. So that's kind of
it's just like I said, it's just one of those things. Like, he's dug himself a hole, and now it's either going to make or break him. Like, he's either going to crawl out of this hole and come out better on the other side of it, or he's going to continue to compound the mental mistakes, and that's going to define who he is. But I mean, it's a waiting game. Like, you're not going to know next week. You're not going. I mean, we just have to see. Like,
so I thought about this, and I want to get your take on this too. There's winning talents and losing talents, and winning football players and losing football players. AD Mitchell is a winning talent and a losing football player. You have Alec Pierce, who's, I'm not going to say he's a losing talent, but he's a winning football player. You put Alec Pierce in the game, he's going to do things to help you win games. AD Mitchell has a winning talent. Like, the skill set he has, absolutely winning talent. He is a losing football player right now. You put him in, you're more likely to lose games because of just the mental lapses that he makes. Doesn't have a high FBI, like, football intelligence. Like, these are the kind of mistakes that you get.
Yeah, and like, I know we've spoke on it plenty of times where we've had this conversation, especially going through this entire offseason, where, like, what was the one big thing the buzzword this whole offseason. Trust, right? Like guys that you can trust. I want to put guys out there that I can trust. You cannot trust AD Mitchell. You can't. And that's just where we're at right now. So that's what I'm saying is he's going to have he is now in a hole.
Mad. It makes me so mad because that play was that reminded me of Ryan Williams versus Georgia. But he's doing it at the NFL level where he spun around it
was an incredible play. But I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. It turned into a massive negative.
He'll be better for this. He'll be better for this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the hope. But I mean, you're wait and see with him. That's just where you're at. And so Alec Pierce is going to come back in. Hopefully, I mean, there's a good chance. He's going to play versus the Raiders, and he's going to do all the little things. The run blocking is going to be there, the field stretching, fighting for the ball, and not afraid of contact. All the things that are the complete antithesis of
not anymore.
AD Mitchell.
Here's the thing that's frustrated me about AD Mitchell. They wanted him to get better at contested catches. He has shown that he has done that this year. They wanted him to get better yards after the catch. Did you just see that? That is the most yards after catch of football. Chris Ballard, wide receiver, has ever had, maybe. Outside of Alec Pierce, in terms of just pure impressiveness. I like Michael Pittman. He if you can, as a fan, you love him.
Michael Pittman is a tight end that plays wide receiver.
Michael Pittman,
and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, he is a dog. Michael Pittman is a good example of a dog. But to me, Michael Pittman runs 4 or 5 routes. That's just, when you say what's Michael Pittman's best route, it isn't something that's going to wow you, and that's just not
probably a drag route.
It's not. It's probably a 5-yard in. Alec Pierce, really good player. What's his best route? Probably go or fade ball. You throw it up 50-50, he's going to come down with it. Josh Downs, really, really, really good slot receiver. They all have their roles. AD Mitchell is the type of guy that can run literally all of it. Literally all of those things. He's big enough to be the X receiver on the boundary and win one-on-one. He's also fast enough to go play the Z if you really needed him to. And he could probably play the F too because he's shifty enough to run the choices and some of the other stuff that they have in that offense. So AD Mitchell's super talented. He's actually gotten better too, which makes this really frustrating for me.
Yeah. But I mean, that's all well and good.
2 steps forward, 1 step backward.
Yeah, exactly. It's all well and good, saying well, he can do this, he can do this, he can do this, he can do this.
I get it, but it hasn't shown up. I get it.
It hasn't shown up, and so So I mean, we just have to see. But yes, the talk of get this guy off my team. They need to cut him. They need.
I don't take that seriously because
gosh, that's so ridiculous.
I'm not even that's why
that's so stupid.
So, should we talk defense? Yeah, I would say he's got. I think he's similar to Wicks, but he's a different body type for sure. They struggled. Wicks was more of a drops guy. AD Mitchell's had some drops, but that's not really hasn't been his thing. But yeah, I see what you're in terms of the most talented receiver.
Yeah, for sure. And me and Landon seen Wicks at the Senior Bowl.
I love Dontavian Wicks.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I love Dontavian Wicks.
Yeah. Let's hop into this defense. I think the defense, what happened was expected overall, but it was some few standouts as well. Shout out to Leonte Lawson returning. He had a huge game. We're going to start with Landon on this segment about the defense. What was your thoughts on the Colts defense going up against one of my favorite quarterbacks in Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, well, how much I love Stafford. Yeah, I mean, if you've listened to the show any in the past few years, my love for Matthew Stafford is well documented. And obviously, Puka Nacua was a guy that I loved during the draft process. Whenever we did our draft coverage, he was a guy that I begged at the table for. Can't believe he was a 5th-round pick. It still blows my mind. I love Puka.
Senior Bowl standout.
Yeah, I mean, just ridiculous football player. And then just Devon. I mean, it's a really good you're not going to fool quarterbacks like Stafford very often. And like they fooled him a few different times. Like they got him a couple times and they just kind of got unlucky. Um, the biggest takeaway from this is the defensive line. They got a lot of pressure on him. Latu was incredible. All day it just seemed like he was just constantly getting after Stafford and making plays. And DeForest Buckner, we know how good he was. Like Adi Tamawa out of Aware had a fantastic day. I would love to see him get more snaps moving forward because I think he's taken a real step forward this season. You can really see the improvement that he's shown, especially on like passing downs, which is where you would really mainly use him to rush from that interior on passing downs. But yeah, I thought overall it was a strong day for the defensive line. I thought the linebacker play, like as far as like Zaire, I think this was the best game Zaire's had all year. He had a really strong game. Javarius Ward was unreal. Once again, I feel like that's like a weekly, statement. Like he's just an incredible cornerback. And really for the most part, like they just made crucial mistakes and they got burned by those mistakes. Like, and there weren't very many of them, but they just made them. And like you went up against Sean McVay, who pretty much designed an offense to attack, Xavier Howard all day. Like there were really even a couple plays like Xavier Howard didn't even have bad coverage, but it was just great timing, great anticipation by Stafford and Puka that like most cornerbacks are going to get beat on those. Like it's just those guys get paid too. It's the same thing we said about the Rams defense. Like those guys get paid too, and they get paid a lot of money. And those are two of the best in the business. Like Matthew Stafford to Puka Nakua's might be like legit the best 1-2 combo in the league right now. Like it's so hard to play.
Puka's gonna get paid a lot of money.
Like Puka's unbelievable. Just to finish my point, like they do have like you have to make a change because as far as like the Xavier Howard thing goes, and like I don't think he's been like as bad as what the fan base thinks he has been. But I mean, like he's clear. Like there were a few plays where like the effort level just wasn't there. Like he just kind of looked like he was lollygagging through stuff. Like he looked like a guy that just came off the couch and that's 33 years old and has got a lot of miles on his leg. It's just you can just tell. Like it's just not there anymore. And they've got some talented guys. Like I think Jonathan Edwards, like the reps that he played, which it wasn't very many, but the reps that he played, I thought were very impressive reps. Jalen Jones coming back, like we'll see how like that rotation goes. I thought Mike Hilton, like that's like the perfect example of like a guy that like kind of just got signed, hasn't, he was in camp with Miami, but like he didn't really get a ton of run. But like he signed and like I thought Mike Hilton had like a pretty good game. Like you could tell like it's still kind of there with Mike Hilton. Like it's not lost. Xavier Howard, I think it's just too little too late. Like that's just where we're at. So I think they need to make a move there because this is going to be a weekly account. Like teams are going to target him constantly until he proves he can stop it. And so far he hasn't. And it is costing this team week in and week out. That being said, I still thought it was a very solid day overall for the defense. Like there was a mistake like Nick Cross made on the Devontae Adams touchdown. Nick Cross had a very decent game for the most part, but he just made one mistake. And when you make one mistake against a guy like Matthew Stafford, he makes you pay in a big way. The 10 men on the field, that's on the coaches. That's not even on the players. Like that's on the coaches. They have to know that. Yeah. But I mean, like you've got to know that. That's one big mistake. Matthew Stafford made them pay. Like they just made. Yeah. Well, yeah. Like it wouldn't have mattered, but like I mean.
Well, that is.
It's.
So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
I was overall impressed by the defensive effort, and I was impressed by the defensive line. And I think the arrow's pointing up for this defense moving forward.
I agree. We always said that, new system, they're playing in a very, very simplistic system. They're going to go play in a more complex system. They're going to fit the run a lot differently. This defense needs to be good by October is what you were hoping. So I think that they've exceeded expectations in that way. It does help too, just kind of the way the schedule falls, with where you played a Miami team, and then you also played you got some. I don't want. You can never say cupcake in the NFL, but you're not playing perennial elite players at this point in the season. Here's kind of my thoughts overall on the defense. I thought, obviously, Xavier Howard gets a lot of the slack of all this, and I think that it's funny because for years, at least under the Chris Ballard, at least the past couple of years, you wouldn't target one guy. You could target everyone. So you didn't have a Charvarius Ward where it's like, hey, we probably have a better matchup on the other side. Like, we like our matchup here. The matchup was just like, hey, we're just going to run whatever because the Colts are going to be in zone defense, and we could just run our cover 3 beaters or whatever. Sorry, I have a cold. So it's almost like a little bit of a privilege to have Xavier Howard in a way. I don't want to say it like that. Privilege is definitely the wrong word. Is that Landon's dog? Landon, are you still there?
I think he went to go do something, but he's here.
Yeah, as soon as I went to go talk, he said I had enough. Privilege is the wrong word, but you would almost much rather have going, at least as a defense, you would much rather know, hey, they're going to go after this guy. That is going to be your plan, as opposed to like, hey, we don't got anybody who can match up with anyone. And that's what it was last year. And that's what it was the year before. Like, they were starting Dallas Flowers and Jalen Jones, a rookie 7th round pick. Like, we have a matchup all over the field. So like, now they feel like, okay, we have a matchup we can go after. Xavier Howard is going to get, like, everyone's like, 10 targets. Well, yeah, like, that's the best possible option. Like, are we going to throw it at Charvarius Ward's way? They basically went for like the Belichick style where like they saw equal targets where they're like, hey, we're going to put Mooney on Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is an unbelievable receiver. I would put it this way, that Puka is probably where the big play happens, if that makes sense. Like, Devontae Adams is that X receiver. He can do more than just that, but like, he's the guy that'll move the chains and he can pick up your 10, 15 yards. I think at this stage of the career, like yards after catch, you feel good with your safeties being able to break. Like with Puka, a small play can become a really big play because he has that ability. So it really is a pick your poison thing where the Colts didn't have many options. I think in terms of the effort thing, there's no way of me to know this. Yeah, exactly. Whoever lines up at quarterback 2 is good. Like, they're going to target them every single time. I thought so. Basically, they had Mooney on Devontae Adams, and then they were clouding Puka. And I think Xavier Howard probably thought, hey, I have help here. We need to, like, we can, maybe go at 50%. We need 2 guys at 100% to cover some of these guys. So I think that's where some of the plays that were like, there were some loafs for sure. Like when you go and watch that, where you probably don't love the effort, especially bringing them down. There's some reps for me too that we just lost leverage maintenance on it. Where like we have 2 guys that are inside leverage, and then we let a guy get outside of us, and then we have no chance. We're basically playing the boundary at that point, so it was just an easy throw. I think part of it was like Matthew Stafford made some incredible throws in this game where it's like, I don't like, even Xavier Howard, who was the second quarterback, like I understand the ball got completed. There was a couple ones where I'm like, that's pretty good defense. Like, that's not bad.
Yeah, like there was like, that's what I was kind of referring to, is like there was this comeback route on 3rd down where
to Puka?
Yes, to Puka. Where Stafford releases the ball. Yeah. Where I'll send you the clip later. But like Stafford releases the ball and Puka turns around at literally the last second. Like, or else the ball would have popped him right in the head. And he makes that catch. And like it was very good coverage by Xavier Howard. You're not going to defend that. Like that type of throw and catch at that high of a level, every cornerback in the league is getting burnt by that. Like not even burnt,
there was a
but I
couple.
don't burnt's the wrong word. But like, I mean, like it's going to be a completed catch.
Yeah. I think the other part of this too is like it's clear to me that lose identity, and like I think the best defense, it's a very cliche word, but the best defenses have an identity, right? And I think they want to be a team that's going to play press man on passing downs. They want to disrupt timing, and then they want to be exotic with how they bring pressure, at least up front in those situations. I think part of it has been a little bit hard because they haven't been able to roll out the same lineup of dudes week for like literally the same week. So they had the Travarius Ward injury, which really hurt. Then they had Kenny Moore. Obviously, that's going to hurt you as well. And then was there another injury in there too, or is those the only two that really you haven't really been able to roll out the same guys? So when you're constantly
well, like Kenny Moore has been out, Jalen Jones has been out, Travarius Ward has been out.
I'm just saying, like of the core.
Well, he played week 1. Jalen Jones was out there week 1.
He was.
That hamstring injury happened week 1.
But was he playing significant snaps at that point?
Yeah, they were rotating.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yeah, they want to be a team that's their identity is play press man and then play some of like more of the quarters fire zones is like a change up. And I feel like having the press man and like it's really interesting to even see guys like Vic Fangio head more into the man coverage world than he ever has this year. So I think that you definitely, if you have guys that can cover, you definitely need to take advantage of that. I think it's one of those things where they will find their groove. They just need to roll out the same guys. So I think Xavier Howard I think the other part of it too is like he didn't practice all year. So like you're kind of like asking Xavier Howard to like.
This is like his third preseason game.
Yeah, exactly. And that was never like, that was like not plan A for this front office or this coaching staff. So like, that's kind of the world that it is right now. I do think they're going to end up finding their groove. Like that's one of the better passing attacks in the league. At the end of the day, you gave yourself plenty of chances to win it on offense, which I think you like. I think the other part that I would want to point out too is the pass rush. I think the narrative has become so much of like Latu needs to be Myles Garrett and not we need something else outside of Latu at this point, because Latu is the pass rush plan to me is let's slide to DeForest Buckner because we're not going to let DeForest Buckner run the game or ruin the game.
I think he has like 100% double team rate. And
then we're going to chip Latu. And then at that point, the pass rush is dead. And these quarterbacks have whatever time they want because like fair is fair. Quiddy is on a 5th-year option right now. Samson Ebukama is making $10 million. Tyquan Lewis is on his 3rd contract now. Like, we need something else. Like, and I get it. Latu has to take that step. He was a 1st-round pick, top 15 pick. Need him to be like a guy. You drafted him. You really need him in this edge room. He's going to get a lot of the attention, especially like from the fan base. And like, how is he doing? Does he have 10 sacks? Like, because especially when the guy on the other sideline, Verse, has played as well as he has. But to me, we need like, it's going to be really tough for Latu to be that guy if it's just going to be slide to Buckner, chip Latu, pass rush dead. So
yeah, like look at the guy on the other side of Jared Verse. He leads the league in sacks right now.
Yeah, like you have that defensive line. It's like that also is what makes like Max Crosby and what Myles Garrett do super impressive to me. Is like they're getting literally the bulk of the pass rush literally every single week. It's like, hey, how do we stop it 99? How do we stop it? Like
there was a play, I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago because somebody had screenshotted it. And it was the Brown. I can't remember who the opponent was, but it was hilarious.
It was like triple teaming them. They brought the
four. There was four offensive linemen on Myles Garrett.
And that's why they dropped
one guy blocking everybody else.
But like Latu isn't that dude. Latu also like because no one really is Myles Garrett. And then also like Latu's still kind of nursing a hamstring injury, which I thought he looked much better 2 weeks removed than he did versus Tennessee. So I think that's something to definitely.
You can tell like he's taken a step forward this year. You can tell.
You can. It's partially because he has more counters, especially as he's getting chipped. Like he's getting chipped a lot because like they're not stupid. They would rather say, "Hey, Quiddy, hey, Samson, beat us one-on-one with our
And
tackle."
and I'm pretty sure even with that, like I saw a post today where somebody had pulled up like the pass rush win rate on like true passing set
Yeah.
downs, where like they're gonna pass. This is the pass rush win rate. I don't know why I said wait, but rate. And Latu is third in the league, but like with guys like Myles Garrett and I want to say maybe Micah Parsons was second, and then Latu. Like he's up there with those guys. Like as far as like winning on his pass rush sets.
So I think ultimately, I feel really bullish on the defense. I think at linebacker,
I do too.
I think they're one of the guys that I think he doesn't play a ton of snaps yet, but he's been really great. Their 5-2 bear fronts is Neville Gallimore. He is just, to me, is like, that's a guy that I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a dude in this particular defense. I don't think he's made necessarily the splash plays, but he's doing a lot of the dirty work right now. And it's also like, he's not going to, how many snaps is he going to see when you have the best defensive tackle duo in the league? I just think that like him and Tommy, it's like the type of deal where like last year you lost to Forrest Buckner and you really, really felt it. And then Taven Bryan kind of got put in a role he probably should never really be in. I think now you're looking at it and it's like, yeah, like I'm not saying you ever want Grover Stewart or DeForest Buckner to go down ever. Like they're two of the best guys, but like, I think you feel a lot, I should more phrases. You love your depth way more this year with those two guys.
Well, that and like you can keep those guys fresher as well. Like we're starting to see them, like where it's just not solely on those two guys' plate every single game. Like you're seeing a lot more of a rotation. And like I said, I think the way like Tommy's playing, like I think you should get him more snaps.
I think
he's just been a menace.
It's like where like that's kind of the deal. Is like I think he's probably, instead of kicking Taekwon inside, that's probably where it's gonna, like at the end of the day, like I just like so much of the narrative to me about the pass rush was like Latu needs to be this dude for us to like be something, and to me it's like I think we just need to point the finger at the front office if this continues to happen, which you don't, and it's like, did it make sense to give Samson Ebukam that contract when he was a cut candidate? Did it make sense? Like obviously you picked up Quiddy's 5th-year option already, but like did it make sense to do that and like not replenish it? Because like to me, I'm not sure totally what, like I'm sure Samson's a big leader in that locker room and that's part of it and everything. Like that's great. But when you're making $10 million a year, like there's got to be a little bit more of an expectation that you're going to do anything. And right now Samson really hasn't done that. So like I just look at like the guys that are paid and like we just need a little bit more than just Latu. Like we just need a little bit more. So hopefully you get that, and then I think you'll go from there. But I think
that's kind of where I'm at more, because like I hear everybody like clamoring like the Colts need to swing a trade for like cornerback 2 and they need to make this move. Like I'm actually kind of fine with like if Jones comes back like relatively healthy and stuff, which hamstring is like
I also am not totally out on Xavier Howard. I'm not. I know that's probably
I'm not there, and like I said, I think Edwards deserves more snaps too because he had a strong preseason as well.
I agree.
Like, I think
everything's got to be on the table at that spot. I'm just saying that like it is possible, and we see this with corners as well. Is like the dude didn't practice or play in anything, and then he kind of went out there fresh, and then like teams realized, hey, like. I'm not sure what Miami was doing, if they went after him or what they were doing.
Plus, too, like I will, like in his defense, like
it's possible that
he's not.
How am I not out on Howard? Because cornerbacks can get better. He didn't practice or play all year, so like he's essentially not fresh out there playing. Haven't played, and he also hadn't played all.
Well, and like that matchup with Puka too, like playing press man against Puka Nacua. Whenever you're like, there's just such a size difference where like it's the same thing as like I said about Pittman. Like Puka Nacua is like a tight end in a that plays wide receiver. Like he is just so physically dominant at the point of attack that if you're a smaller, quicker guy, which is what they want to have at that spot,
It's
like Puka Nakua, it's just such a mismatch physically. Like there were so many times where like during that press man coverage, like he just got pushed off, from the release point. Just Puka just bullied him off of his release. And like there's just nothing you can do about that.
I'm just not out. We've seen he's gotten I've gotten the bulk of it. I'm not saying that
I'm not saying I'm not out. I just like they need to try something different.
I'm
like
not excusing the performance. I'm not. I'm just saying that like it's one of those things, and if you have to rotate, get Edwards more like if you have to go do that, especially on third down, then go do. If you're gonna play press man, which wants to be an identity, like you, and then you make you got to make a change there. Yeah, I'm all about that. I'm not like saying let's just keep putting a bad player in. I'm just saying that like it's also one of those things where like he might just get better as the year goes on because that happens with corners all the time. So like you would much rather have a guy out.
It is the single in my opinion, it is the single toughest position to play that isn't quarterback.
It's also one of the most
volatile.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Like you see, like Chris Ballard's actually been he hasn't really had a ton of success drafting corners, but he's found corners off bad. Like
his free agent cornerback acquisitions have been really good.
Xavier Rhodes, who in my opinion has just been severely underrated by the Colts fan base. At his time, like I would put him maybe not up there with Gilmore, but like pretty close. Like he had a really good year when he was there, and like he had a really down year in Minnesota when they got rid of him. And Ballard brings him in and said, "Hey, we trust you. Let's go win one." And like you see guys seen this with Rasul Douglas has been a great example of this, of a guy who had some down years in Philly and in Arizona. He goes to Green Bay. He plays really, really good football. Like this happens with the corner position that you just sometimes, and it even happens within seasons too. So, and it happens the other way where like guys who are really good, like Charvarius Ward did not really have a really good year last year. Obviously there were some other
mental. Yeah.
He's played unbelievable football through weeks. So like, this is one of those narratives where it's like, I get it. We're all talking about Xavier Howard because he's the one guy on the Colts defense that people feel like they have a matchup with. And that's something that they could not say last year because they had matchups everywhere last year. Yeah. So you're playing, it's much easier for Lou Anarumo to sit there and he's game planning. It's like, they're going to go after Xavier Howard because they know they're not going to be touching Charvarius Ward. That's where we got to focus. That's where we got to roll coverage, push, whatever we got to do. I think they'll get that figured out as opposed to like what they had.
And I really do think like if they can just figure out, like you said, like I think Howard would be fine if they could just figure out the other side of the pass rush where it isn't just Latu and Buckner and Tommy and all this. Like if they had another edge that could take advantage of these one-on-one matchups they're getting constantly, like the whole defense takes a massive step forward.
The other thing that has to be, and you have to give Coach Charlie Partridge for this credit too, because I think this is also gets, and I know they just played Stafford, but this isn't really that big of a deal. They have been so much more disciplined in their rush lanes than they were last year. Like if you remember, Drake May probably ran for whatever yards, like quarterbacks would just like have these massive throwing lanes. And like, I think the one thing that gets kind of misunderstood about pass rush, especially when you go look at numbers, because I'm not entirely sure that people are like charting these, but maybe I'm totally wrong, is that like, you don't just get to tee off on the quarterback every single snap. Like sometimes your job is I'm going to play contain because we're bringing in pressure on the other side. Or like sometimes my job is I have to take an inside move here because we have a stunt or like whatever it may be. Like there's coordinated pass rush is way more coordinated than it is an individual effort. Hey, everyone just use your best move to get to the quarterback. That's kind of how the Colts were playing in 23 and 24. This year has been so much better in that way where like Cam Ward was pretty much didn't really have like Cam Ward's the type of guy you give him the escape lane, he will take it. Bo Nix, same thing. I think that probably happened in the Denver game last year. It's like when you give Bo Nix an escape lane, he will take it. Like whether it's a massive throwing window or it's a place for him to step up and he can just go. So like, I think the Colts have a lot more reasons to be excited. It's just like when you lose, you just try and find all the reasons why. So like it's Xavier Howard and like that's about it. So
I mean, like we're severely underestimating the step forward that they've taken so far this year. Like
it really can't be understated. The defensive term.
Yeah, like they're borderline a top 10 defense right now. Like if you go by like any of like the EPA, the pass defense, all that kind of stuff, like they are borderline playing like I think they're like 12th or 13th in a lot of stats. They were like 28th, 30th for like the last 3 years. Like that is a massive step forward. Like we're not even talking about being average. Like they're borderline top 10 right now with dealing with the injuries they've dealt with. You've had Latu miss a game. You've had Ward miss a game. You've got Kenny Moore on IR. You've got Jalen Jones on IR. Like they have really taken a massive step forward. And that's and like and I know like Colts film room agrees with me here, but like I think it's only going to get better as the year goes on and these guys get more comfortable.
They've exceeded my expectations. I thought this defense was not going to be good in September. Obviously they probably played a little bit favorable schedule on that. But I did not think that they were going to be good because it takes time. It's a completely new system. The DB coaching has been unbelievable. Like when you compare it to last year,
unreal.
Like I saw the Colts corners in joint practice versus the Cardinals get torched when they tried to play press man because they don't play press man, and the press man has been so much better this year. So I think that like the DB coaching has been great, everything as promised. I just think you just gotta. It's just hard to cloud Puka, and you just have to find an adjustment there. And then the 10 man on the field is obviously unacceptable.
Yeah, they just made some mistakes, and like here's the thing too with it.
None of them would matter. None of them would matter. That's the thing about.
I don't necessarily think. I mean, unless I'm just wrong and like I've just completely missed the train on this for the last few months, but like, were they gonna go 17-0? No, like I mean, like you are going to have days at the office like this. Like it's just where like nothing's going right and mistakes are kind of like compounding things and like the fact and like here's the difference to me. Here's the difference is last year in Denver, Jonathan Taylor fumbles that football and the wheels fall off and they get blown out and they go into a hole and they don't recover from it. This team against one of the better teams in football. I think this Rams team is better than that Denver team last year. This team fought. Yeah, like this team did not go into a hole. Like they still made some mistakes, but like they were right there in it at the end of the game. And like outside of those crucial mistakes, like there's a good chance that they come away and they win this game. And like you couldn't say that in previous years. So there is clearly a difference right now of where this team is mentally, physically, just roster-wise, coaching-wise. Like there is a massive difference. And like I hate seeing this like narrative that I've seen for the last 48 hours of like the same old Colts are back. Here they go again, blow the game. Like what about that performance was the same old Colts that you've seen? Like this stuff shouldn't be expected. Like if they were a winning, that was the one I got yesterday. Is like if this was a winning franchise or a winning team, you wouldn't see stuff like this. Like brother, they're 3-1. Like this is like saying that about this isn't a winning team against a team that is 3-1. They are by definition a winning team.
Yeah, this is different, and I think that like obviously
it's different.
It starts with the quarterback too, because I think that like this is probably the most the Colts have gotten out of the quarterback position since
Rivers.
Yeah, since Rivers. Just from like a overall leadership thing, and I think the other thing too is like you'll just see Daniel Jones take on more of the leadership. I think yeah, I totally agree. Like when you go look at the team last year, it was kind of just like there's a lot of turmoil around the team. And the wheels just sort of fallen off. And I think that gave some good, talented players a chance to look in the mirror and then figure it all out. So, like, obviously you had the same mistake. And, like, again, like, it just cannot happen with A.D. Mitchell. Everyone knows that. You got to make an example out of it, too. But, like, there were so many reasons outside of just what A.D. Mitchell did that, like, the Colts continued to fight, and they just didn't do that last year. Like, and they also didn't put away teams that they were more talented with too. Like,
yeah, there were way too many close games.
They went to the wire with a tanking Patriots team. They obviously got
the Jets last year.
The Jets the same way. The Giants, they didn't even win the game. They just
no, they got blown out.
They went to overtime with the Jaguars in week 17 when it was all over. So like there's a lot of reasons to be like, this is a much better Colts team. I think that you really couldn't like have draw this up any better, at least this month of September. When you go look at like, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's fix everything that we needed to fix in 2024. Outside of like an AD Mitchell fumble that is terrible, has this not gone everything according to plan? Like, you're 3-1, really could be you. Like, no one in that organization is going to say it, but like they're all thinking to themselves they should be 4-0 right now. Like, they're all thinking that. Like, no one's ever going to say it out loud, but like they're all thinking it. So I think there's a lot to be excited about, and like I think they're in a good stretch of games here to be like a 6.
I'm actually like, I'm super excited for Sunday, which I won't be able to watch the game Sunday either. It's my grandfather's 80th birthday. So
happy birthday, Papa.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that. But I'm so excited because this is another like good test as far as like where they were last year compared to this year. Is like last year, they drop a game like this and they come out flat in the next game, and it just kind of compounds things. Where
also, like, the Raiders are like a wounded animal right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like if they go out there and they just dominate Oakland, or I say Oakland, Las Vegas. I'm sorry, I'm never going to get over that. They go out there and they dominate the Raiders, and they basically take out their frustration from this Rams game on what you were saying, a wounded animal. Like, that's what great teams do.
Yeah, and I think that especially early in the year, people just get into resume talk because like that's all we know, right? Like, oh, like the Colts have beaten X. Eventually, they won't. You just can't say, you can't talk too much about resume because it's just a proven thing that they win. But I think and the other thing too is like, you're talented. You're more talented. Like, you don't have Max Crosby, but you're more talented on both sides of the trenches. So like, this shouldn't be a game you lose. You should look at that and be like, we are more talented where it matters. So, man, I'm pretty excited about the team.
I'm excited.
I think I just think I'm excited for where the offense is headed too. Like, you look at everything Tyler Warren has brought is like been awesome. Like, not just the fullback dive or wildcat QB long trap, like at the goal line, but like they have like a real shot to attack base defense. Like, I think last year, Shane Steichen's been historically an 11 personnel offense, so 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. I think that works. I think now they're realizing, hey, like there's some real mismatches with linebackers and coverage, and Tyler Warren gives them a chance to do it. Like, whatever, it's a linebacker, safety, whatever it is. And like, it's kind of unfortunate because the Colts have played so much heavier personnel that Josh Downs does have to come off the field, but like they're finding so much success with it, which is awesome. So,
and I think you're seeing it nationally too, which is so funny that like the own fan base can't realize this, because I've seen so many national power rankings where the Colts have either stayed the same or they've actually jumped ahead in the power rankings. Like, because you have
look at the power rankings. How are the Colts? Are the Colts good?
They're still a top 10 team. They've actually went, like, I know there was one, there was like a Fox Sports one, there was a CBS one, like there's like they're either like borderline top 10 or they actually like went up in a few of these national power rankings. Like, they jumped up a spot or two. Like,
yeah, I think the one thing you can look at is that this is a weaker AFC than maybe last year.
A lot of injuries going around.
The Jaguars to me are dangerous, which sucks because they're in their division. You need to win that AFC South. I think this is the year you have to win the AFC South. Like,
yes.
This is the year to do it. And then I think the AFC North is not as strong as it's been. You have 2 injured quarterbacks in that division.
Yeah.
The AFC East, we know Buffalo's the threat at this point. What do we have with the rest of them? I'm not really sure.
The West, I mean, like,
the West is like kind of I think that's probably the strongest AFC division. But like, even then, like, I'm not the biggest Broncos believer, to be honest. And I do like the Chargers a lot. I think they're gonna. That's a team you.
Yeah, but they're banged up. I mean, like, that's.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have both tackles.
Yeah. Yeah, like
That's
historically, that team.
I don't know. I feel really good about the Colts at least doing enough, and I think that like I feel so vindicated on a lot of my takes just because like I mean like people would have told you Shane Steichen was fired by now, so like like we're and then now it's like you could make an argument if they keep this up, he's the coach of the year. Now they usually do give it to the rookie head coach sometimes, but like you could make the argument Shane Steichen's in the coach of the year conversation at least through September. Obviously, super early, and none of it matters.
Oh, he's absolutely in the conversation.
Like the Colts have a stud head coach. There is no reason. Like, I think that's it for the game. I don't really know.
Yeah,
Really. Yo, Rigoberto Sanchez has made some clutch punts.
The GOAT of punting is back.
Well, I do have to give Brian Mason a little bit of a shout out and Anthony Gold because like the Rams are that.
Oh yeah, Gold's been looking really solid over time.
That knuckleball punt is like or kickoff thing is a real problem, and like they were all over him, and like those are not exactly easy to return. Like that's not like just a thing. Maybe they practiced it throughout the year. Maybe I assume, but like even if you practice it, it's just not easy to do, and they executed it almost flawlessly. So like you have to give them credit, win or lose. So.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to those guys. But we'll be back on Friday to give you the preview of the Week 5 matchup. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Raiders. Should be a good one. Hopefully they can bounce back from this week. But we'll talk all about it later on this week. But you guys got to stay tuned. Appreciate all the support over all the platforms. If you're not following us up everywhere, just look up the Blue Saber Podcast on any website and we'll pop up. But appreciate you guys. That's Coach Film Room. That's Landon. This is Marcus. And until next time, you have a good week.